Okay, so today we're going to discuss how to create and solve inequalities. So go ahead and set up your journal on the left-hand side, titling it Inequalities, and the objective will be to create and solve inequalities. So go ahead and do this quick bell ringer in your journal on how to solve this equation. So pause the video and try this problem on your own. Your final answer should be x equals 3 over 2. If you did not get that answer, raise your hand and ask an iPrep facilitator to help you get to this particular response. You should all have received a cutout of this particular chart. Go ahead and paste it in your journal and fill in the rest. What we're going to be doing is using what we've done so far on equations, we're going to now add the idea of an inequality. And when you hear the word inequality, you see that the first few letters are unequal, meaning does not equal. So there are 4 different inequality symbols that we're going to be focusing on in this particular topic. We have the less than or equal to symbol, the less than symbol, greater than or equal to, and then greater than. And the way to graph these particular inequalities on a graph is very different. So if it has an equal to under the inequality, so as we notice here on the less than or equal to or greater than or equal to symbol, the circle, right, so I'm going to bring our attention right here to this circle. This circle here. The circle is shaded in, right? It's a filled in circle. And what that means is that we are going to include that particular response. When the circle is open, it means it does not include, meaning it does not equal to that response. Okay, so if it's an open circle, it means whatever that is. Let's say that the graph the circle ends up at 3. Our answer cannot equal 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some problems to make better sense of this. So here we have our first inequality. 3x is greater than or equal to 9. So the way to solve this is just like how you would an equation, right? Just pretending like this symbol doesn't exist here, pretending like it doesn't exist. So the way to do that is we have to do the opposite operation. Right now we see that it says 3x. When it has a letter next to a number, that means multiplication. The opposite of multiplication would be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, okay? 3 divided by 3 will give me a 1x, and then 9 divided by 3 will give me 3. And then I'm going to just bring my greater than or equal to symbol. That's all I need, right? So now I've already solved this problem. I'm going to go ahead and graph it. So I'm going to make a number line, and I have my 0, right? I'm going to go over to 3 because that's the number that we're working with. 1, 2, 3, right? So I'm going to go over to 3 and I'm going to make my circle on 3. Now, the question is 3 an option? Can it be equal to 3? Well, it says here that it can be greater than or equal to. So yes, it can be equal to 3. So I'm going to shade it in. Okay? Now, if it just had the greater than symbol, then it would have stayed an open circle. But because it says greater than or equal to, the circle is going to be filled in, right? So now we're going to include 3. And then it says that it has to be greater than or equal to. So what are some numbers that are greater than 3? A number that's greater than 3 is 4 and 5. So all of these numbers here are included as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow, a line, and an arrow going in that direction, saying that any number greater than 3 is also an option. So, alright, let's go ahead and try this one together. So, we're going to try to get x by itself, right? So, the first thing that we need to do is we need to move this 10. And why the 10? Because the 10 is the number that is by itself. So, that number is going to move first. The opposite of a negative 10 is positive 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides, okay? 2x is what I'm left with. A negative 10 plus 10 is 0. And then 2 plus 10 is 12, right? The symbol that I put between is the greater than symbol, okay? Last step, I'm multiplying by 2, so the opposite of multiplication would be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And then I'm left with x, 6, and the greater than symbol in between. So let's go ahead now and make our line. I'm going to start at 0 and go all the way up to 6. 6, right? And I'm going to put my circle there. Is the circle going to be open or closed? Well, I don't notice that there is an equal to sign. It says only greater than. So that means that 6 cannot be included, so that it's going to be an open circle. From there, what I'm going to do is, I know my answers can be greater than 6. So 7 is an option, 8 is an option, 9 is an option. So I'm going to shade everything that is greater than 6. Okay? Perfect. Last problem, and then you're doing it on your own, okay? Now, this one's a little bit tricky, and the reason for that is now we're multiplying or dividing with a negative. So, earlier in the video, which you may not have copied down, there was a lid on the table that had the chart. If you are multiplying or dividing by a negative, then what you need to do is flip the sign, okay? So, in this case, we have y divided by negative 4 is greater than 2. So, in order to get y by itself, I need to do the opposite. Right now, I'm dividing by negative 4, so I need to multiply both sides by negative 4. These will cancel, and I am left with y. And then 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, because remember, a negative times a positive is a negative. Okay, now, when you divide or multiply by a negative, what's going to have to happen is you need to flip the sign. So in this particular case, the sign is greater than or equal to. I'm going to flip it to less than or equal to, It's a greater than sign, so I'm going to flip it to a less than sign. So my answer is going to be less than. When I graph it, I'm going to start at 0 and go all the way up to negative 8. Okay. I'm going to keep the circle open because it's a less than symbol. It doesn't have that greater than under it. And the number needs to be less than negative 8. So numbers that are less than negative 8 would be negative 9, negative 10. Because remember, the farther you are from 0, the less you are. So I'm going to shade in all these numbers to the left of 0. Now, one easy trick, and I didn't want to say this, but I'm going to tell you because it makes things easier. If you have your letter on this side and your number on the right-hand side, the way to think about it is whatever direction your symbol is pointing is the direction you're going to shade in. So you can see here that the point that it's pointing to the left, so I'm going to shade in all the numbers to the left, okay? Go ahead and try these two problems on your own and check in with your iPrep facilitator to make sure you got them correct. You will be getting a classwork grade for these two problems. Alright, go ahead and finish page 377 and 378 in your iModule packet. You will be getting a grade on this, so you are expected on finishing these two pages in addition to the two problems before as well.